Welcome to the home of the Great Debaters Contest. I am your host, Mariam Bishar, and today we take you on an intellectual roller coaster in Nakuru County. Do enjoy these debates. Our very first debate of the day pitted Darul Ilmi High School with last season's winners, Moiforces Academy Lanet. Let's see how the champions fared off against these young men in a motion on whether celebrities should be considered role models. Our very first proposer of the day was Yusuf Omar of Darul Ilmi High, who was equal to the challenge. He reminded us that the problem with celebrities is that they bring their negative behavior to the limelight.
A small kid who's age below 15 years, how can he know how to differentiate between the positive side and the negative side? Do you mean a 11-year-old boy can know how to differentiate between a positive thing and a negative thing? No. Justin Bieber does a lot of negative things in his songs. You can see the videos that he produced. He produced a lot of bad videos.
The offensive by last season's winners was led by the very lovely Esther Wanjiru, who reminded us of great leaders such as Nelson Mandela and Wangari Maathai, who are the very definition of the word role model.
A celebrity is someone who commands a significant degree of public attention in our day-to-day lives, especially in the entertainment and sports sector. Should is a word to show what is right and appropriate, not shows negativity. A role model is someone you look up to, you admire, and you try to emulate. We can take an example of Nelson Mandela. They have taught us to stand for something in life. He has taught us to accept each other despite your race.
Our very first rebuttal of the day came from Ismail Ali, who reminded us that celebrities are the main reason why we are forgetting our culture.
Bad culture influences. Most influential celebrities are from West. By copying their lifestyle, our culture is swallowed by their culture. i.e., haircut, which mostly are introduced by the Western, e.g. the current one. The mohawk, which was introduced by the famous football player, Mario Balotelli.
The opposition took over with Rachel Nafula of Moiforces Academy Lanet, reminding us that celebrities do indeed come from all facets of life and we should embrace them instead of judging.
You're basing your points on musicians. Are celebrities only musicians? Don't we have Nelson Mandela? Our own Lupita Nyong'o. Nelson Mandela has done a lot. Desmond Tutu has done a lot. Celebrities should be role models because they are the ones we look up to and they're the ones we should emulate.
Abdul Majid Ahmed from Darul Ilmi gave a very convincing closing statement to wrap up the arguments of the proposing team.
I would like to propose the motion that celebrities should not be our role models. In a religious factor, most celebrities are not committed to their religion. Most of them are in cults. Most of them worship idols, and others also worship Satan, like the Illuminati. How can we make such people our role model?
The reigning champs wrapped up our debate with a very lovely closing statement from Diana Wangeshi.
To err is human, but to forgive is divine. Celebrities don't have to be perfect. We can learn from their mistakes. We can choose to pick the positive things they've done and not the negative things. Mother Teresa left her home and went to Calcutta in India. She was compassionate. She went to show love to the poor orphans.
Yusuf, you started well. Good mastery of topic, good mastery of language. But I didn't hear you mention in your submissions at first any local celebrities that we have, Africans. You used a lot of some of the foreign ones. Ismail, I applaud your confidence just coming to the stage. However, your coherency of argument, and you read too much. So it's good that when you're on stage, avoid reading too much, okay? Abdul Majid Ahmed, yes. Your passion and conviction is lacking. Your style of presentation as well is somewhere there. But however, thanks for the new knowledge. You taught me a few things so that I can be careful when listening to music next time, to listen to what they're saying. You had great points, but your delivery lacked the passion and conviction.
Darul Ilmi had 55.5%, and Moi Forces Academy, the reigning victors, had 70.5%. Let's clap for both of them. Good job to both teams. The ladies of Moi Forces, congratulations. You are the winners for this round of the debate. I'd ask the debaters to shake hands. Our second debate of the day was tackling the very sensitive issue of media freedom and whether it should be tamed through legislation. It saw Naivasha girls go up against Loreto Convent Matunda. Let's go straight to the debate. Precious Wangeshi started off this debate with a bang with an age-old saying, "Too much of something is indeed poisonous."
When you talk about media freedom, what does it entail? This means the liberty at which the media has been given in order to carry out and conduct what they do. And when we talk about tamed, we don't mean curtailing of their freedom. Oh no, we just mean regulating it a bit.
The opposition's offensive began with Hexel Adawa stating that there are two sides to every coin and we should be given the leeway to interpret information as we please.
To begin with, information is power. What do I mean? The mass media in Kenya acts as the very basic source of information to a large number of Kenyans throughout the country. Taming the media means that the people will be less informed on the activities that are taking place in their country. In addition to that, the media plays a social role of exposing some of the ills and the vices that are taking place in the country.
The rebuttals came fast and they were hard-hitting. We began with Julie Alice stating that the media nowadays has too much irrelevant information to the point where it almost seems like a reality TV show.
If this media is not tamed, it means that these people who are against the government, they are going to go against them, they are going to release classified material and state secrets which are not supposed to be led to the government.
Economy. How will Kenya know that we are a third world country or we are an independent state? We need to stand for Kenya. We need to stand for the media. If this media comes out strongly, then it is our right to fight for this media to have the freedom without being hindered by the legislation. Go for your freedom. You must access any form of information because it will either build you up or push you down.
As always, we look forward to the closing statements, and Megan Kamau did not disappoint. She stated that nowadays immorality and vulgarity are the order of the day on the media.
The media actually exaggerates the news given out. They exaggerate the news that have been perpetuated to the people. Now, this hampers our growth. It hampers our growth as a country. It hampers our growth in the tourist sector. It hampers our growth in every single sector. Because without tourists, there is nothing we can do.
Our final closing statement came from Sidwell. It was plain and simple. The media is a watchdog and should be allowed to highlight the evils in our society through features and exposés.
The media, it informs us on what is happening outside. For instance, in Nigeria, It has informed us that we have over 200 school girls who are abducted from the Songari village by the Boko Haram group. How could you have known such an information if it were not for the media?
I'll start with Loreto Convent, Matunda. Maybe basically all across the board, I would want to request to the next time you also extend your scope in terms of media, because we have many media forms, is it? Various media forms. Even social media itself that you use a lot, and it has been abused in some places. So should governments start taming this? So we also expected you to mention that. But otherwise, it was commendable for what you did.
Precious Ongeshi, very good. Julie Alice, very good. Megan Kamau, very good. Naivasha, Loreto Convent Matunda, Hazel Adawa, very good. Faith Otucho, very good. Sidwell, very good. All the best to the two teams.
Naivasha Girls Secondary School, they had 71.9%. That's a very good score. Clap for. Loreto Convent Matunda had 70.7. So it's a good job to both teams. The margin was very small, but we congratulate Naivasha Girls and Loreto Convent as well for the good debate. Please shake hands. We now go on a very short commercial break, but when we return, more of these fabulous debates and debaters. Welcome back to the third season of the Great Debaters Contest. The battle continues with Nakuru girls facing off against Anesta boys. Their debate is simple. Should African countries be allowed to find solutions to their own problems? It's a topic we've handled before and we can't wait to see how they do it. The powerful rhetoric started off right away with Liberata Mbua giving us perhaps our most memorable statement of the day. If aid equals development, then Africa would be the most developed continent on the earth.
If international aid was to develop a place, then Africa would be the most developed continent in the whole world. This is because we receive a lot of international aid, but at the end of it all, we remain as poor as we were before. This is because the international aid is meant to corrupt the African elite and to instill the beggar mentality in our youth. Thus, African youth continue growing lazier and lazier as days go by, and a continent cannot develop when the youth are lazy.
Our first opposer was Alan Gikonyo, and he reminded us that telecommunications, entertainment, and tourism are some of the most heavily invested industries by foreigners, yet they are also our biggest breadwinners.
Now, for example, in the research that was carried out in 2008, telecommunication, entertainment industry, and even the tourism contributes almost close to half of what is contributed to our economy. What does it mean? This means that and these industries are controlled and managed by people from outside Africa. What does it mean? It means that if we bring the same people who are making wonders, who are making big catches in telecommunication industries, in entertainment industry, and also tourism, then they'll transfer the same to even other sectors.
I go to my next point, which is the judicial system. Africa is said to have the worst judicial system. That is why ICC was invited to Kenya and involved to solve the 2007 and to 2008 election violence. But till now, has the solution been found? 7 years down the line and no solution is found.
David Mukunda reminded us that Africa is still a relatively young continent that requires guidance from more experienced nations.
Africa, we need more experience from more experienced powers. For instance, most African countries got their independence in 1960s, were the first world countries got their independence in 200 years plus. So why don't we allow them to guide us and to lead us?
Naomi Mumbi was clear, concise, and straight to the point. There is no aid that comes without strings attached.
Every time you wake up, there's a terror attack somewhere. Have you wondered where these weapons used to attack Africa come from? These are the sophisticated weapons that are produced and manufactured in the most developed countries, which are definitely not in Africa. So, how do they say that there's insecurity in Africa? They produce the weapons are used against us, and then they come trying to solve our problems. We have seen Africa trying to find solutions to its own problems. For example, the African Union has formed the AMISOM, which has been helping to control the situation in Somalia, and I can gladly say that they are doing a good job.
The opposition's final statement came from Kelvin, who reminded us that if we take the step to cut off links from other nations, then our economies will simply crumble.
In Africa, most of the countries depend on tourism. And if we cut our links with the outside world, the tourism goes low and the GDP goes low. That means the economy of Africa crumbles down. Second, insecurity problems. Take countries like Sudan, take countries like Nigeria, take countries like Somalia. Africa has tried, but it has failed. So we need countries from outside Africa to help us, to supply us with the ingenuity that we need to control the insecurity, to control the rebels in some countries.
Across the board, I would like to say that I needed to hear why Africans fought very hard for independence, the nature of problems that we face. It was good to hear more examples. I expected just more examples, not just structural and economical. We have a lot of issues that come on board as well, but you tried your best to do that. Do we have the ability from the team that was supposed to support this, and has this helped, or is neo-colonialism still at play? We also wanted to hear such examples coming on board. Naomi, great use of examples, good tackling of questions. You're a great speaker and keep it up. And I thought, in fact, you should have reshuffled. I thought you would be even coming in to sum up, because you came up and strengthened the team as well as a third speaker.
Nakuru girls, Liberator, a good beginning, and I must commend your composure. Check pronunciation. We don't say elite, okay? We say elite, okay? So that confuses the audience. They're wondering, okay, what word is that? Naomi Mumbi, I loved your mastery of topic. I think I listened to you and I also learned a lot. And, you know, for a number of the things that you were saying, I would see somebody who's well-read and well-prepared. Anesta High School, I was hoping that your team could actually make reference to the abduction of the girls in Chibok in Nigeria and the Boko Haram, and the fact that the international community has come in very strongly to help them. Look at the kind of surveillance equipment that the US and British has actually taken to Nigeria. Look at the number of forces they have sent there to try and trace these girls. That's an example to show that maybe as Africans we are not ready, you know, to solve our own problems. That it's a month later and Nigeria has not been able to do anything to be able to get these girls. I mean, it's all over, you know. So I was actually wondering what's happening. There's free Wi-Fi in Nakuru, isn't it? So I was hoping that you would actually make use of that in Google. Okay, all the best to the two teams.
A gentleman from Anesta High School garnered from the judges 59.5%. Let's give them a hand. And today the ladies are the victors. They got 64%. Let's clap for them. So for this round of the debate, Nakuru girls take it, but good job to both the teams, and we'll see you next time on the Great Debaters Show. Our final debate of the day saw Singora girls go head-to-head with the gentlemen of Utumishi boys. Their motion was a very simple one. Should the government legislate and enforce family planning? Michelle Bathsheba started off this debate by reminding us that in the last 4 decades, Kenya's population has quadrupled, and that is why we need family planning to be legislated.
And if we think that family planning is right, then we should actually legislate and enforce this by making sure that the life of the normal citizen is at par and it goes on smoothly. So in connection to that and in conclusion, family planning is a win-win situation for both wealth and health. And although the government has made some of the advancements in this, it has empowered people, including the youth, and therefore reducing the poverty gap that we are facing as a country.
The next SOV speaker was Philip Wafula, and he reminded us that legislating family planning is tantamount to infringing on our right to reproduce.
The forced sterilization is actually an inhuman part of birth control, or in this case, family planning. Equally, there are the medical adversities of family planning. You will find that once you maybe take family planning through the method of birth control, we have the daily contraceptive pills. If you take them, as much as might they be beneficial in that they will keep the pregnancy away, you will find that it actually has its medical adversities. Such people will tend to develop ectopic pregnancies maybe. If not so, you will find that such people will gain weight.
The rebuttal by Irene was heartwarming when she reminded us that family planning has helped to reduce the gap between women of different socio-economic classes.
Most women from the rural areas are mainly affected. This is whereby most of them are poor, they come from rural areas and uneducated. We are trying to reduce the number of children being born in this country. And the women are trying as much as they can to work hard, try to improve the educational system so that they can improve the life standards of their children. So therefore, I really highly support family planning because I know it's going to help us as much as we need.
The opposition's offensive continued with Brian Munaita putting doubts in our minds on whether the government really will be able to enforce family planning rules once they are legislated.
The reason why I'm in opposition to this motion is first of all because family planning methods are being abused. Ever since the launch of these initiatives to sensitize the people on the need for family planning, we see that there has been abuse of various methods of birth control. For example, the pills. We see that nowadays the youth are engaging in haphazard acts of intercourse and not being afraid of pregnancy because there's the pill to condone that.
The next speaker was the blunt and almost crass Stacey Meto, who reminded us that family planning is the key to improving our economy.
If the country has control over the population, it will be able to plan for the country's development and ensure that all the resources are well distributed among people in the country. So I think family planning also helps in improving the management of the country's resources as well.
Billy Koech with the radio voice reminded us that the opposition was not against family planning, but simply its legislation.
So is it okay for the country to be inhumane for the sake of humanity? Take for example, China. Now there was this one-child policy. Now during the period when it was enforced, many children died. Many feminine children died. Why? All because of the preference for the boy child. Now I'll ask again, is it okay for the government to be inhumane for the sake of humanity? I thought history was there for us to learn from it.
I mean, this is a very well-researched motion. I want to commend to both teams your research. This is amazing. We feel that you did justice to this motion. You did your research well, and I commend the other students as well who are helping you and the patrons in the research. And we are proud of you. And so even to the team that will make it, we don't know what will happen after this. All right. So we just wish you all the best.
Singori girls, you made me very proud from where I'm seated. Michelle, good evidence of research. I mean, you did your research very well, and that was evident. Irene comes in and she's very calm, but also very well read, and that's a good thing. Utumishi Academy, again, great teamwork. Philip, you start off really, really well. I mean, you're cool, calm, collected. You're a great speaker, you know, and the sky is the limit for you. Brian, again, good reference to China. I loved that, you know, because this is one country that has had a one-child policy, and of late there have been discussions about whether or not they should, get rid of this policy because of the number of people who are available, the manpower that's available in the country.
For Singora Girls High School, they had 71.3. Up to this point, I think that's the highest score we've seen the judges give. But the gentlemen from Utumishi Academy beat that. They had 73.8. So congratulations, Utumishi, but bravo to the ladies as well. We wish them all the best. I'd ask the debaters to shake hands as they leave the stage.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together, they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
Join us next week as we bring you round 2 of the Nakuru County Regional Debates. You don't want to miss it. I have been your host, Mariam Bishar. Thank you so much for watching.